We are at the DECA Conference, Day 2. I'm here again, once again, with Rob Waugh. How are you going?
I'm good. You don't even give me a cold start opening. Like talking about the weather or something.
I'll be like, and then she was, actually, you know what? I don't have it. Let's
I want to call something out. So, yeah, obviously, you're using OBS for the win. Like,
yes.
awesome piece of software.
Free,
and
open source. That's it.
Like, open source. This is, if you need to know anything about open networks, open protocols, and open software, like OBS is the absolute bomb.
And then just to top off the I don't pay for software trifecta, we'll watch the end result on VLC.
Yeah, perfect. We'll go VLC.
I might even package up the file in WinRAR.
Yeah.
Ignore the passive aggressive request for $3 for a lifetime.
But it's worth $3.
Oh look. That guy is a genius.
If only they accepted stablecoins, I would actually pay for it.
Have you ever paid for a piece of software?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. If it's something that I use regularly, I will pay for it.
I think I paid for a license for fast stone snipping. So it was like one of those snipping tools. And it was so versatile. And even though the snipping tool has come in since and it's much better, I can't get past this 1998 piece of software that still runs perfectly.
That's just awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think the last one I paid for was like Real VNC, which is if you want to export a display to your other computer. I think I paid for that, and I can't remember the one, but I paid for before that. But I definitely did it. But I would like to pull you up on, like, you have got a Windows machine.
Yes.
Like, surely it's like, the antithesis of using OBS. You should have Mac. Isn't it Mac for the win?
Oh, no, I thought there was a lot more issues with the OBS Mac.
Oh, really? No, mine's been fine.
I have been a Windows person from birth.
Okay.
Mac confuses me. Like,
oh, really?
It's just,
see,
you grow up on one, you don't understand the other.
Yeah, that's maybe true. I grew up on like a Mac, the classic Macintosh 2.
Yeah,
was
right.
Like, and I should have kept it. I think it'd be like a collector's item now. But I was like, oh God, I'm never going to use this. I've got a new one. Let's just buy a new one. I should have just kept it in the attic, sealed.
Well, actually, it's funny because do you remember the brand of computers that you would have used in high school or?
Yeah, well, I'm British originally, so we used the BBC-B.
What is that?
Yeah, so the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, ran a competition for a computer for all schools in the UK. And so the BBC, in collaboration with Acorn Computers, which is, I think, now ARM, right? It's now ARM, like a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah.
And like all of your iPhones and all of that have got ARM chips in, and they invented RISC processors. That was the computer I learned on at the age of whatever it was, like 9 or something, 8, 9, 10 years old.
Wow. I had a Commodore 64.
Oh yeah, good computer
and,
also.
I learned how to do programming on the original tapes, and I was coding choose-your-own-adventure games with built-in Lux spins and everything. Basically,
and what was your go-to game on the C64?
Load Runner.
Load Runner, yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. Manic Miner was my mate, my best friend at school. I had a Commodore 64 and I had the BBC, so it was the Crips and the Bloods. It was like East Coast, West Coast.
That acronym has different connotations these days.
Yeah, that's true. And so we would just like argue about what the best game was. And like without question on the BBC-B, it was the original Elite. Like that was that was mind blowing when it came out. I don't know if you ever played it back in the day.
No, I think that might have been a year or two.
Yeah.
Prior to my time. That's okay.
I'm in my 50s now, so maybe
that's
a
right.
little generational difference.
All right, so for those who've watched our podcast or some of our content, we had Rob on in the first ever episode in the new office.
That's right.
Back in, I think about a year and a half ago now. I would have been actually June 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yep. 2024 would have been that.
Okay. Yeah, we just started out, right?
And you were doing. There was no real hint that Macropod or AUDM was coming.
Yeah.
Did you know about it at that time, or was it stealth?
Yeah, we had some idea of what we were going to do. It very much felt like we were in the valley, just about to kind of climb a mountain, and we knew that the regulation was one of those kind of unknown length problems. Like how difficult, how do we do it, how do we negotiate, a license from the regulator when there was like no regulatory framework whatsoever. You look at it now, like you guys as a DCE have got a license framework, or at least a roadmap to a license framework. Stablecoins weren't regulated. And so we were like, what are we going to do? And so we had some idea of what the road was going to look like, but just kind of pencil drawing in the back of a notebook.
Well, I remember when it was in early stages, and I guess we were talking about who was going to get there first, and I think you had the pedigree to get there first.
Yeah, we
was
were.
it ex-NAB?
So this was a weird thing. So we came out of National Australia Bank, both me and Drew, my co-founder. Drew ran the traded markets business. I started in FIG coverage in NAB and then went back to the trading floor after a long time away. And we tried to initially build a stablecoin business in the bank. And the weird thing is, it's like super, from a regulatory perspective, it's super easy because you're at ADI, you've got all the licenses coming out of your ears. But then the weird thing that the technology is insanely difficult. And I used to use the analogy. It was like the Chernobyl nuclear reactor ever trying to do a tech build in a modern day bank. And if you do you remember Chernobyl when they had the meltdown?
I wasn't alive at the time.
You were alive, you were alive. Yeah,
actually, no, hang on. What year was it?
Yeah, was it with like 87, 88?
Okay,
Oh, no, it was towards the end of the Soviet Union, right? So it must have been 89 or something.
Okay, no, hang on, I was alive, don't worry.
Yeah. And so the thing, I think it was reactor 3 that was the one that melted down. And the thing that you have to realize is, what about reactor 1 and 2? They still operated, and so building technology into an existing bank is like very much like trying to work around a melted down reactor, and so it was so insanely hard. And in the end, we just thought, it's just easier to build at greenfield. So Drew and I left and had the idea of going and doing a stablecoin. Didn't know what we were going to call it, didn't know what the license was, didn't even know what the letter was. Like M is the one that we kind of landed on in the end. And so it's been a voyage of discovery.
So knowing your other pedigrees, I heard that AUDJ was also thrown around.
AUDJ was thrown around.
What was the 3 finalists, can I ask?
So I think we did a search, quite extensive search. I think it was like M, W, J.
W doesn't work for me.
Yeah, W doesn't work. So AUDJ, we went to the point of like actually getting the AUDJ website. And then in the end, there's another operations person at Macropod, Liv, who's also a DJ, actually a much better DJ than I am. She's kind of professionally paid. And so we were actually gonna like create a DJ website where DJs can get paid in stablecoins. So it's still there. It's still in the domain register of our AWS account. So we still might launch it one day.
So for those who don't know, AUDM is Australia's first
regulated stablecoin issuer.
Multichain.
We are now. Yeah, at the beginning we just started on Ethereum. Very quickly we pivoted and we did Redbelly. For those that don't know it, Redbelly is an Australian EVM blockchain that's got very much kind of focused around on-chain identity and verifiable credentials and stuff like that. Some of the research came out of CSIRO, and so check that out, it's really interesting. So we launched it on that one for the second one. The third one we went Solana, which was a really different switch because there's a lot of other stuff around the Solana contract. And then we've just launched Base because we were interested in doing micropayments, particularly around point-of-sale terminals for like tap and pay and coffee shops and stuff like that. And we'd been doing that anyway when the government announced their changes on the rules around whether you can charge credit card fees. So we hit the timing perfectly. So we've kind of launched out the start gate for that about a month ago.
Yeah, wow. Do you have, and forgive my lack of knowledge in this space, but is there interest or capability for the normal traditional banks to hold, use, transmit AUDM?
Yeah, so that is a good question. I assume now that we're a regulated issuer, that it would, because I suppose there's a number of different, should we say, barriers to them adopting it. The first one would be regulatory and compliance, and I think we've probably ticked most of those once it goes through the compliance committee process. The second one would be a technology issue, which is how do they actually custody it, how do they capture it, how do they report on it, how do they risk weight it. I think that's actually super difficult to do for a bank.
Okay.
I expect, can't really disclose, which customers we're onboarding. I feel as if there must be some banks that are very much on that roadmap now.
From all the reports that we get, there's a lot of banks that are already either in building rails or doing a lot of tokenization in the background, whether or not they're giving it to customers or not. JP Morgan, for example, has tokenized deposit rails now.
They do.
So
for all interbank payments through all of their branch and subsidiary network.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
They already would have a proprietary technology which would be as
it's called
fast.
Onyx, I think it's called.
So, in terms of the name, we chatted about this yesterday, and I like the story.
Yeah.
So,
AUDM,
Macropod is the name of the entity which does the issuance and all that. What is a macropod, and why is it the perfect name for a stablecoin?
So macropods are obviously a genus of animals. Macropod means big foot, and so they're large-footed marsupials. And so obviously they're quokkas, kangaroos, wallabies, padamens, and all of that kind of stuff. And we just thought that we wanted something authentically Australian, which it is. We wanted something that demonstrates stability, and macropods have 3 points of contact. They have their feet and their tail, and that's how they propel themselves. They only move forward. And so,
there's a philosophy behind this.
There was a lot of philosophical discussion about it. And then when we finally hit, there was the three founders, me, Drew, and Delia, who, we were just whiteboarding it for hours and hours. And in the end, it just popped in, and we're like, okay, M for Macropod, hop on chain. And it was like, this copy writes itself. And so we were like, actually, that's, because stablecoins are essentially, you're moving from fiat to on-chain, and that's it. It's an on-ramp, off-ramp. That's essentially the business model. And we just thought, actually, hop on chain is the thing to do. And so it was Macropod. M, it's got a nice connotation. It's like, money as well. It kind of was in the back of our head. And so we wanted that, moving value, or value that moves. That was the other thing. It's quite emotive.
Yeah.
Our native animal, like the kangaroo. And so that it all just felt right. And, when it's your startup, you can just go, that feels right.
I feel a Socceroo collaboration.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and obviously, sponsoring the Wallabies in a few years' time, getting on the jersey, that would be awesome.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
So let's take it down to, I guess, the retail level. What do you see, or what do you expect the biggest use case of AUDM would be?
Yeah, I think for now, I think the biggest use case is people just doing international remittance of value. And anybody who's done I'm originally British. I've had to live in different countries. I think Germany was the first foreign country I lived. I've had to move value across border to get, from one bank to another bank. Anybody who's gone through that process, it's slow, it's expensive, it's uncertain because you don't know what fees you're getting charged on the way. The FX is unclear. And so that kind of international remittance with FX, our customers are already doing that. And so we've got pretty big pools of liquidity of our stablecoin to other US dollar stablecoins. And so people can essentially convert and remit, or remit and convert, whichever they want, super quickly, super easily with a known fee structure. So I think now that's the use case.
What would you have to go through a digital exchange like us on the other side in America, and there's plenty of liquidity over there as well?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so if you're an IR customer, you can onboard with Macropod, mint directly into your IR wallet, and it appears there, and then you can do your conversion and then send it to wherever you want. And I've done this, and I personally think it is the quickest and cheapest way to get value around the world. That's the benefit of blockchains, right? Anybody who is a participation sport, you're on chain, you can be around the world.
I remember, even I think prior to your episode, I think we spoke to a lawyer, and we were talking specifically about the use case.
How much did it cost you?
Pardon?
How much did it cost you?
Hey, look, it was part of the podcast. She came for free for a change.
No, it wasn't $1,000 an hour.
No, for a change. I think she billed us later for something else.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were talking again about use cases of AU, of proposed Australian coin, because AUDM didn't exist at the time, and she said that one of the biggest drivers, one of the biggest demands would be kind of APAC trade, so sending money to Asia, Singapore, and to a lot of trading countries, just to make where they have interest coming back as well. So they might not even need to do that FX change. They just hold that for the next time they have to do business with Australia. Has that come true? Is that?
Yeah, so we have customers who are doing that route already, into Hong Kong and Singapore and other parts of Asia. Australia is an export economy, but it's also an import economy, and you just look at the list of the value of imports, and you can identify what the traditional routes coming into the country are. Student payments is just a huge thing. And so we're seeing a lot of activity, interest, and execution around that channel, like in and out of the country.
Yep.
What would be awesome is if we can get bi-directional flow. We actually need start Australian exporters to start using stablecoins as well, and they will just get a much better deal than their current providers of that export value transfer.
Okay.
And you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
From that,
Yeah. For those, I guess, who don't understand the value of stablecoins, comparably, how much cheaper is it to use and utilize stablecoins as opposed to traditional rails?
Yeah, so you can either go to a traditional centralized exchange such as yours, and honestly, I can't actually remember the trading spreads on independent reserve, but we are currently collecting we're linking into all the API calls to all the banks on their FX rates. And also the major providers, and you know who the major providers,
Yep.
like those alternative, like neo payment entities. And so we are monitoring the FX rates that you would get through those channels, and then the FX rates that you get on your exchange as well. And it is so clearly cheaper to do it through an exchange that, it's like we're going to publish the results at some point, and so maybe we should do a co-production on that.
I think that'd be good.
And yeah, it's so much cheaper.
I think you only have to teach them or show them once, and then they're a convert.
And they're like,
a convert, yeah. And we're seeing a massive ramp up of both institutional and private flow of stablecoins, and it's definitely increasing. It's linearly increasing.
Yeah. And so I think, and you're right. You just show them like how to do it. There is a little bit of a barrier to entry at the moment, particularly if you're using your own wallet or something like that. But it's just at some point somebody will design the perfect user experience to orchestrate all of this together.
Yep.
And then it will really start accelerating.
Yeah.
Maybe that should be us.
So. Obviously, it's not a done project. Yes, you launched. Yes, you're established. What's next?
What is next? So we have a roadmap for our technology build, and so we're expanding out the ways that customers can interact with us. So at the moment, they just interact with us through the web app online, through app.macropod.com. And they can go through the onboarding process, get KYC'd, and then just do kind of minting and redeeming in and out of your customer's bank account. There's a very simple API integration as well into that web app that we launched in January the 5th. It's actually only January the 5th that we launched the app, so it's kind of crazy, 6 months. But we're going to just totally refresh that, have a much more platform agnostic API way of integrating into us, and so any B2C customer can then utilize Macropod for whatever their business process is, and so that's probably, we're hoping to launch it on the 1st of July, and so it's going through various testing and checking at the moment, and we'll see how it goes.
Very exciting. So I'm not going to wrap any other exchange. You can get AUDM on independent reserve, and I'm sure elsewhere, but we're only concerned about us for now.
Yeah. And then thank you. Well, you were the guys that first listed us.
Yeah.
And and we're a customer of yours. We like doing business with people that do business with us as well. And so it's been a great partnership. And thank you for you believed our vision. And hopefully we've delivered on what the story that we gave.
I believe so. Anyway, thank you so much for catching up.
Thank you.
And we'll do this again sometime.
See you soon.